Forgetting all those things in life that did not cause me gain. Reaching forth to those which are before. I must press toward the mark for the prize that calls my name. Homeward bound and forward, homeward bound and forward, homeward bound and forward I must go.
Hey, and thank you for joining us. It is a great day to be alive here on the Tammie Tubb Show. I'm so excited I can't even explain because I'm talking about something that's very dear to my heart. June is actually Men Health Month, but what we're doing, we're celebrating great men that are empowering our young people, but more importantly, they're doing something positive in the neighborhood because they want to see change. I have two of my brothers here with me, and I'm excited because it's nothing like sitting down one-on-one, you guys, talking about real deal stuff that matters. Yes. Welcome, Mr. Jeff Akins. I thank you so very much for joining me. I should say my brother. You know, we're close. Yeah. And of course, the man behind Robinson Youth Foundation that we're going to talk about as far as mentoring young men in the community of the GTA, Mr. Bert Robinson. Thank you so very much for joining us. Are you all excited to be, back in the area because you grew up here, but now you're actually in Atlanta, correct?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I want to put you out in Atlanta. But for the most part, why did you decide to come back home to begin your foundation here?
Well, I was having a conversation with one of my good friends, Mr. Sleepy Robinson, and I was looking for a way to give back because I came up after the youth. I had too much of freedom. I was misled in a lot of ways, and I wanted to change the outlook on our youth and just help them grow mentally and also incorporate football with it. I felt like it was a win-win situation.
Wow. Now, Jeff, you know about football. For some young people, it's actually a way out of the hurt and the pain that they go through. Yeah, and a lot of guys, it's the only way out for them. And it's the only way out as far as to stay out of trouble, you know, and ain't nothing like being a young adult that finds something that you love to do, you know, and, you know, football provides that avenue for them. When I think about football, I love to watch it. I understand the game a little bit. Having so many brothers, you didn't have a choice in the house. There's discipline. What type of discipline or structure do you all, you know, give when you all are in the camp, helping these young people? Well, with football, you know, there are certain things that you can do and can't do. There are rules. Rules, okay. And there are rules to abide by. And of course, once you teach the young man those rules, then they learn to abide by them. We take that and say the same thing applies to life. And that's where, you know, me and Bert, that's where we connect at because with what they're doing with the camp is they're teaching life skills versus where I teach discipline skills when it comes to sports. That's good. So when you're talking about football, you know, a kid, if he wants to get out there, he wants to play, and he wants to be the best he can, it's a psychological thing behind it that teaches him how to be disciplined in order to get the results that we need. Wow. Burke, you said something early on, and I want to touch on this because I think somebody needs to actually hear it because you look really well here with your suit and your tie. Yes, ma'am. But there were some things that you said that you strayed away and actually did. Can you share as far as why you have this passion to come back and really grab our young men and say, hey, this is not the way that you need to go?
Well, coming up, I had a great childhood, but I had too much of freedom as a child. When you say freedom, what do you mean? I knew I had a good understanding at 9 o'clock grandmama going to bed. So I can sneak out the house and I can see what's going on in the neighborhood and dabble in some wrong, a little right, but mostly wrong. And I just wanted to, once I got my life together. How did that change? How did that transpire? What happened that you woke up and said, you know what, enough is enough. I want a different life. What happened? I became homeless. I was homeless back in 2006. And my best friend, Sleepy Robinson, he stuck his hand out for me. I stayed with him a couple of months. I got myself back together, went back to school, and I finally got an understanding of my purpose in life. Yeah. I started listening to what God had for me to do. And I was in the process of forming a foundation for about a year. Then after I got everything together, put my bylaws together. I constructed it the way I felt that was necessary to help, to benefit the kids.
Yeah.
And also to help the parents to understand. And we went from there.
Well, I'm so grateful that you have. I mean, I salute you. I mean, just being able to sit back and say, you know what, God, I'm going to give my life to you. And you said something, finding your purpose. Yes, it's nothing like finding your purpose. Wouldn't you agree, Jeff?
Oh, totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, once that happens to you and you go through that experience, then now you start to look back at, you know, your shortcomings, and then you start to look at what you can do to prevent other people from those shortcomings.
Yeah.
I always tell my son, I said, you know, I've already made the mistakes for you. All you have to do is listen to me, and instead of going from A to B to C, I can send you from A to B. I can send you straight to where you want to go. But
if you just listen. That's
but
the
you have
key.
to listen, so.
Listening. Okay, I'm reading this, and it says the Robinson Youth Foundation is committed to working with young males, 10 through 17, focusing on mentoring, emotional balance. Can we talk about that? Because men sometimes, well, majority of the time, studies have shown they're taught to keep things in, which brings anger, resentment.
Yes, ma'am.
Share with me a little bit more of why you decided to even begin to teach them about emotional balance, being able to express themselves and communicate.
When I grew up, my father, he was you need to pay attention. Don't ask too many questions. He didn't feel like the emotional person to understand what you're going through in life. He just, this is how you do it, this is how it needs to be done. So I kept a lot of stuff bottled inside of me until once again, my friend.
It's good to have a great friend. When you know a friend versus an associate, a friend is there, they tell you when you're wrong. I mean, they correct you. It's nothing like having a great friend.
Yes, my friend, Mr. Sleepy Robinson, we was riding one day, he was like, you need to talk. I said, talk about what? I'm fine, I'm cool.
You thought you were?
Yeah, he said, nah, won't you tell me what's going on? And so we always made a promise to each other, we would never lie to each other. And we can say whatever we got to say. No strings, no nothing attached to it, and we're going to go on by our day.
Wow.
And so emotional balance with men is just this macho ego thing that we have between each other to not express certain feelings to another guy, nor a woman.
Yeah.
So, and that throws off the relationships when we're raising our sons, and they have the same cycle that's going on, keeping things built up inside, and not understanding how to successfully express their emotions.
That's good. Jeff, you know about breaking the cycle in the family, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've generational cycles of, you know, grandfather, father, and then once I had my son, I decided that I wasn't going to be that way. And that's no disrespect to my grandfather, my father, because they were still great men in their shortcomings. They just didn't know how to be a father.
Yeah.
So through me, I looked at that and said, well, okay, well, let me at least not do it that way, because that's not giving good results. That's not coming, those are not good results. So let me do something different and then see what results that get me. And which of course it got me great results. Wow. So, you know, talking about the emotional balance of it, you know, my son, I've trained him to be a football player, and he's rough and rugged, and he's hard, and all he knows is physicality.
Yes.
But you know, the other side to that is you have to be nurturing and caring at the same time off the field.
Off the field.
So you can't do the same thing you do on the field, off the field, and that's where some of that discipline, you know, and knowing the rules things transcend from the football to life. And that's where you have, you know, the meeting of what we're doing in the camp. Wow.
We're going to come right back because I want to talk about how you balance off the field and on the field. There's a way that you have to exchange hats, basically.
Yes.
And to be able to connect with your son.
Right.
I know you all are being empowered. I am truly being blessed here on set. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
There was a bee in the car. I got distracted.
He panicked.
I didn't panic.
Panicked.
Oh, there's a bee in here. Get it out. Take the wheel. It's in the back seat coming at me.
Clearly. clearly panicked.
I didn't panic.
A little panicked.
Well, it looks like the damage was minimal, so just leave everything to me. We'll get you a rental car, we'll get your car fixed, and you guys will be good to go.
So, we're good.
Great. Bzz.
For a plan built just for you, contact Greg Ott in Tupelo.
Hey, we're back, and I know that you're truly being empowered and uplifted, but we're going to jump right back into this because, Jeff, you started something, and I kind of cut you off, but I want to go back to it, talking about how we need to balance on and off the field, especially with our young men. Many times we talk about mothers and the daughters, but today I want to focus on how to balance this to let our boys know that we love them. Is it okay to give your son a hug?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. That's one of the most important elements that you can give him, you know, and Bert kind of touched on it a little bit, and I'm going to elaborate, you know, with my son, you know, with him being, like I said, I taught him to be so physical playing the sport of football because, you know, teach him to be his best at whatever it is he's going to do. But primarily the sport of football. So when we get off of the field, I teach them, you know, compassion and teach them how to care and teach them how to help people.
How do you do that? How do you teach a young man how to be compassionate when the world society teaches him you have to be strong, you got to be tough, and you know, how do you as a father teach your son that?
Well, the first thing I do, I show him. Of course, you know, kids, they're sponges, so they're going to do whatever they see you do, and they're going to emulate whatever they see you do. So I let him see me give his mother a hug.
That's
and
awesome.
tell her I love her, and hug his sisters and things of that nature. And I don't just shake his hand and, you know, things like that. I hug him and say, I love you too. And one particular time, you know, in the beginning when I started trying to teach him these things and I hugged him and said, I love you, he said, uh-huh. And I said, you ain't gonna say you love me back? He said, yeah, I love you, Dad. I said, okay. So from then on, you know, when I do that to him, then he does the same thing that I do. So
I love
you know,
that.
but you got to show the example first, you know, because the Bible says, you know, train up a child.
Yes.
You know, and if we're training him up that way, then he should take those same characteristics, and, you know, and he should use them in his own life. So, and I get different stories from people, you know, your son is so nice and he helped us and he did this and he did that. And I said, well, hey, you know, I expect him to do that.
Exactly. You know, those that are watching right now, he just said, train up a child. If you want to make a reference of that, it's Proverbs 22:6, where it says, train up a child in the way that it should go. When he's old, he will not depart. And I believe that. I mean, even of us, we're like in our late 30s. Look like we're 20, just the grace of God.
Yeah,
Thank you,
21.
Jesus. You know, I always say I'm going to be 21 forever. Yeah. But when you think about it, even when we wanted to do wrong and dibble and dabble in some other things, what was rooted on the inside of us kept us. Even if we fell a little bit, eventually we got back up. We got back up because of that training. And so when you were talking about that, what came to my mind was life skills. We have to be able to give our young men life skills because the world teaches them here, fast money, you can get it. But you have to work. Does the word not say if a man doesn't work, he doesn't what?
Doesn't eat.
That's the word, and you can't go against that. So how important during the camps that you all do you teach them about work ethic, getting out there and working?
Yes, ma'am. We go have some people to come in and teach them how to fill out a resume. We go teach them how to interview. We have a representative for Bancorp South who will come and teach them about finance.
That's awesome.
We have, I think, Mr. Larry Love, Benny Harrison. They'll come and teach them about entrepreneurship, how to run a small business. We'll have.
So it's more than football.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes,
what date is the camp?
June 3rd, June 5th at Starford Sportsplex,
Okay.
Starford, Mississippi. And
how can someone that's watching right now say, I really want to get my son connected with those young men? How can they register?
They can register at RobertsonYouthFoundation.org. They can call 469-263-0031 or 662-418-2204 and inquire about it, and they'll get all the answers they need.
Awesome. If a mother is watching right now and she's saying, my son won't listen to me, you know, maybe he's drinking, he's smoking, he's just rebellious, because at certain ages, I think all of us, men particularly, young men, they get real rebellious when the father is not in the home. What would you say to her right now, Jeff, in the camera?
I would say find a man that you trust, or a man that's, resemble those characteristics that you would like for your son to emulate, and ask him, would they be a mentor? One of the things that I try to do with my program is mentor these kids or mentor the young men, because some things that they can talk about to us, they won't be able to talk to with their mother or someone who's a little close to them that they may not feel they really can, give that information to or lean on. So,
Definitely.
Me and my brother Tony Akins, along with training them, we mentor them, and we use sports as a motivation tool, as an inspiring tool to, give them something to look forward to. Also with our program, they look forward to seeing you.
Definitely.
Because if they're having a positive encounter with you, then they want to continue that positive encounter, because everything else that they see is so negative.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, and I don't say what it is, but we may lead off a session with, hey, just tell me what's going on with you right now. How is everything? And don't just tell me it's okay. Because I'm a grown man and I have particular issues and problems. So, and I may talk to my wife about it because we have that relationship. And some things I talk to my son about to let him know that, hey, your father, even though it may look easy, is very hard.
Yeah.
So we sit there and sometimes we just talk about life, and then we'll kind of get into, the sport, know, because life first is more important than the sport, and knowing how to, balance the two.
Definitely.
So you can be a better, productive person.
Definitely. So what I'm hearing is once they leave out, not only do they have skills as far as being a better football player, but as an individual, as a whole in society. So you all touch basically all areas of their life. Character development. Share with us.
Character development is, especially when it pertains to being in the school system, because we're very big on, getting good grades, being a good model student, what would someone say about you, do an encounter with you, what type of student are you? Don't just be a football player and then be a dumb jock, or you strive to be a scholastic athlete.
I love that.
And from my growing up being a football player, all I knew was sports, and I didn't really focus on the importance of getting an education and how far it can take me. So I had to go through the things that I had to go through in order to realize, you really need your education more than you need the football. Because I always use this analogy. You're only as good as your last tackle. You're only as good as your last touchdown. What are you going to do after that? And what if you blow your knee out and can't play anymore?
What happens?
Then what are you going to do? Because that happened to me. And when I went to college and I blew out my ankle and blew out the other ankle.
So was that devastating? Was that life-changing for you?
Oh, yeah, because after that, I wasn't prepared to do anything else. Because all I knew was football or baseball. So now I had to say, well, where do I go from here? And the next step was, I had to lean back on my education. And, I did some things. I wasn't just very poor in education, but I didn't take it as seriously as I should have, because once that injury happened to me, then I would have had that to lean back on.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely. So what do you tell your young men when they come in? They're all excited, because you have quite a bit of celebrities that come in and talk to them. They want to, hi man, how did you do this? They want to hear all of that. What do you tell them as far as if you want to get to this point, you have to do A, B, and C? What advice do you give them?
First of all, you have to have respect. You have to always remain humble. You have to listen. And you have to be dedicated to your art. Whatever you want to do in life, you got to be dedicated, and you have to want to be unnormal. Successful people are not normal people.
That's good.
So if you want to be successful, you need to listen into the different, we got all type of people coming in, former NFL players, former college players from Mississippi State. We have Antoine Edwards, we got Sleepy Robinson, Lateef Travis, we got Tony and Jeff Akins. They go with fast training. They go help the kids with their agilities. We got Greg Plump, we got Eric Mose. We got a lot of different people coming in that has made it to the top level. and some people that could have made it to the top level, but like Mr. Akins, had an injury, so they had to fall back and become teachers, educators, or businessmen.
Yeah.
But they still are successful in life. So it's just, I just need you to come in, absorb what we're going to give to you, listen, respect, have drive, discipline. We'll take care of the rest.
I want to take this opportunity because we're about to go to a quick commercial break. For those mothers, I want to talk from my heart to yours right now. I get plenty of emails, text messages, calls in regards to I don't know what to do with my son. He's very rebellious. He won't listen to me and he's out of control. Some of you are even saying that are watching me right now, I'm done. Whatever happens, I'm giving him to the Lord. Why not invest in your child? I love how one of my previous guests has said this, and it really took me by storm when he said, you don't know the Moses that you're raising. Save your Moses. That's exactly what he said. And so I want to just encourage you on today, save your Moses. The information is on the screen as far as how you can register. What is the price, the cost structure? Because I believe we can make time for what we really want to make time for. And we invest in what we want to invest. But the best thing that you can do is invest in your child.
Yes, May 19th, pre-registration, $40 for a 3-day camp. From 8:30 to 4:30, we'll have your kids. We'll feed them lunch. So what's that, less than $13 a day?
If Mr. Joe Ree Malone was alive, he would say it just like this, and I'm going to say it best. You can't beat that with your stick, my stick, and nobody else's stick. That's just the best way I can say it. $40, a 3-day camp, 8:30 to what, 3?
4:30.
To 4:30. I mean, come on, seriously. Invest in your child. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to buy a car, shouldn't it be at a place where they've sold over 100,000 cars since 1971? There is such a place. Now there's no fancy giveaways, no this weekend only sales. Just honest people that have integrity and principles offering a solid value on cars you really want.
This is Mid-South Auto, and this is what we do.
Hey, if you just joined us on today, we've just been sitting here just having casual talks of how we can empower our young men and turn that curse around that, you know what, there are no great African-American men that are out there in society, and I just believe that God is raising up people right now. Even those that are watching, they're going to call you all to get in place to say how I can connect to help these young men. They're representing Robinson Youth Foundation. I'm just really elated that you all have joined us on today. Let's go into it because time is of the essence in regards to making sure that we don't lose our generation. I talked about saving our Moses. You don't know who you're raising. Just getting them in the right place around the right people. Environment matters.
Yeah, all it takes is one encounter.
One encounter, life-changing.
That's why I was saying with the Robinson Youth Foundation, after this camp, we still have mentors available. You can still call me. You can still call Jeff. You can still call Sleepy. You can still call Torn. Each kid gonna be assigned somebody to call. So we still available at any time.
So it doesn't end after the camp?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We have different events that's coming up that's in the making. We're not going to reveal right now. But this is not just a one thing.
It's continual, and so you're forever mentoring. And when I think of a mentor, I think of the voice that you hear, the voice that you follow. You listen to that person's advice. You value their opinions, and obviously it works whatever they tell you. So you all will be continually mentoring them, building a relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
Building relationships, and I think that's so important. I want you right now to talk to some mothers that are contemplating, should I send them? Please share with them why they should contact you.
You should contact us because we will take the time to nurture your child, to give them the understanding on what it is to have a life on and off the field. More importantly, we're trying to work with off the field skills, life skills that they would call it. So your son will be equipped to take on the world and lead the next generation. And I'm surrounded around a lot of great men that will continue and have passion to help you. If you allow us to help you help your child become a better man.
Awesome. Jeff, I want you to talk to some men out there. Challenge them right now to get in place. We all make mistakes. No man is perfect. But once you realize that, you know what, I have a son, I think it's important that you play a vital role in your son's life.
Yes, yes. I challenge every man out there to, you know, take upon yourself to not only instill more time into your son, or find another young man that you can mentor or you can help, you know, yourself. And I always try to go by the philosophy of each one teach one. So even if it's just one that you can reach, you know, reach that one. But don't be afraid and don't be selfish to just say it's all about me. Make it about the children, because you never know, one day we may need them to help us.
Exactly, exactly. And it's important that we instill morals, values into them now. Once they're 18 and 19, it's very hard to reverse anything.
Yes.
And so I believe it starts at home.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am.
It starts at home. Mom can't do it all.
Yeah.
And I know many times we've heard this phrase that women cannot raise men. We can do only what God graces us to do. But it's important that there is a male, a positive male, a real man in the home.
In place.
And in place, not just in the home, sleeping, not working. I'm talking about doing as what the Word of God says.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, providing for the home, praying over the family, with the family, you know, sitting down, asking, how was your day? Well, that young man can see that I can communicate, as you know, said before.
And even if you're not working, because I know it's hard for a lot of men who do try, and I know a lot of men who do try, but at least, you know, build some structure in the home. You know, build a foundation in the home to where, you know, maybe those children can still see that, okay, well, you know, we're not just doing a lot of things in vain.
Definitely.
You know, hard work will pay off.
Definitely.
You know, in the long run, but, you know, you got to instill those things into them, and they'll follow suit. It may take a little time, but you just stay the course, or, you know, Jeremiah, stay on the wall.
Yes.
And, you know, eventually it'll get built and it'll be strong, and, you know, no one will be able to prevail against it. So.
But more importantly, like you said, stay on the wall and pray.
Yeah.
And pray.
Pray.
And Miss Tuller, I wanted also to say, we need some volunteers. We need some men to step up and come and help us so we can guide and show those men about men banding together for a great cause.
That's awesome. The number is on the screen in regards if you would like to volunteer. I know your heart is racing right now. That's God. He's knocking, and he's telling you need to contact them because we're better together. We're better together. Yes, it is. And I just believe that this is going to be life-changing. I will be there for the most part. So you all, so if you all definitely would like to come and meet me, not just to see my pretty face, but just to listen to what I'll be just mentoring and speaking into the lives of those young men as well. Well, guess what, you guys? Our time is up. I love you all so very much. Thank you for being a guest on the Tammie Tubbs Show. The best is yet to come. Yes. We salute you all for the awesome work that you're doing. God bless you, and we'll see you next time on the Tammie Tubbs Show. Until then, be blessed.
Forward, down, and forward.